Hello everyone, como está café? It's your girl Jasmine here, and I wanted to share with you my labor and delivery story. Before I get into it, I'm kind of whispering right now because baby's asleep and I'm trying not to wake her up. I think she's waking up. Just give me a second. She is a light sleeper, so I need to get this done before she wakes up. But in any case, thank you so much for coming through my channel today. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I am all about cruelty-free, non-toxic living, beauty, food, all that good jazz. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you guys so much. My due date was set for 11/11/2022, and I had every intention on delivering that day, but little miss did not want that for herself, and I ended up not going into labor that day. I spoke to my midwife because I really wanted to get the ball rolling, and I was kind of tired of being pregnant. My hip was hurting me every time I slept, and it was just getting a bit uncomfortable for me, so I really wanted to induce labor safely and naturally. So she suggested that I pumped raspberry leaf tea, eating dates, things with the hubby, you know what I mean, those sorts of things, and I did all of those things. And I think all of those things had a part to play in the inducing of the labor. I want to say I did all of those things the same day, and I think all of those things had a part to play. On November 14th, my mucus plug came out, and I think it was November 14th. It was either November 13th or November 14th. The mucus plug came out. It had a tinge of pink in it. I was really excited, but it still wasn't happening for me. Like, none of the painful contractions that people talk about was happening. So I just went about my day. The night of November 14th, pain started to come in, and I'm talking in my lower back area. I really did my best to time the contractions, but I'm just not that girl. So I ended up calling my midwife. I let her know about the contractions and the pain and the frequency. She told me to come in to the birthing center. That was at around 1 o'clock in the morning. I spoke with her, and then we drove to the birthing center, which is an hour away. And we got there at around 2 o'clock. The midwife ended up checking me, and I was a centimeter dilated and 80% effaced. And she said that I was not in labor. I wasn't in active labor, so she sent us home. Now, I wanted to go to a hotel nearby because this place is an hour away, and I felt like something was about to happen soon, but we didn't do it. And I really wish we got the hotel, but we didn't. So we drove an hour back home, and Mr. Man, he went to sleep. I wasn't able to sleep at all. I was having just uncomfortable contractions. Going into the 15th of November, still couldn't sleep. Well, actually, that was the night of the 15th anyway. I wasn't able to sleep at all, and I wasn't able to eat. Everything was just everything was just uncomfortable for me. I felt like I had to take a poop, and so I had to keep going to the bathroom, and nothing was coming out. I was in discomfort, so it was just mainly on my lower back area. Mr. Man did all he could to help. He massaged me. We used the massage gun, and the massage gun was actually life in that situation, but it was not helping completely. The pain or the discomfort was still there, and so I decided to take a shower because I'm thinking to myself, maybe the warm water would help to relax me and things like that, and it didn't. It did not at all. There came a point where I got out the shower, and I just couldn't take it. I thought to myself, okay, maybe I'm in active labor now. Not really sure, because this is my first time. I don't know. Anyways, we called our doula. We told her all the symptoms. She came and gave me some coconut water. I was only able to take a few sips of that. I didn't have any sort of appetite. I was really trying to focus on these contractions. There was a time where I had to use the bathroom again because it felt like I had to poop. So I went into the bathroom and I pushed, trying to poop. Didn't do number 2, but instead something came out of my hoo-ha, and I went to go check down there and it felt like a bubble. And so I told Mr. Man, and then when he checked me, he saw my amniotic sac coming out. So little miss wanted to come right then and there. So Mr. Man called the midwife. We let her know what was happening. She let us know, yep, this is definitely active labor, and you should call 911. And so we did. Mr. Man called 911 actually, and after that he called our doula to come back because whatever was happening right now. And within a few minutes, EMT showed up, firefighters showed up. I'm talking like a gang of men showing up, looking down my hoo-ha. This is not how I wanted things to go. I didn't want strange men looking at my hoo-ha. They had to see if I was actually in labor. So once we all came to the conclusion that, yeah, this is happening, we made the decision to go to the hospital. So the EMTs took me in the ambulance with Mr. Man to the hospital. Our doula was not too far behind. She was in her car. And then when we got to the hospital, the doctors were asking me a whole bunch of questions. And fortunately, I was still in my right state of mind to answer all the questions. They took Mr. Man and I into another room where there were a whole bunch of doctors there. One of the male doctors wanted to actually check my cervix to see how much I was dilated, and I told him absolutely not. I would like a female doctor to check me. So he took the hint and he sent a whole bunch of female doctors into the room, so that way I felt more comfortable, and I really appreciated that. At this point, they advised me that they wanted to rupture the amniotic sac because they saw some meconium and they thought that it would pose a threat to baby, but I respectfully declined, and they respected my wishes. Now, the female doctor checked me. I was 10-2 and 100% effaced. So I was more than dilated. I was ready to go. So they took us into another room, which was the labor and delivery room, and this was where I had to push. Now, they didn't let our doula attend the birth or like assist me with the birth because it was only supposed to be one support person, which is unfortunate because, you know, we paid the doula fee and everything like that. Nothing happened the way I wanted it to happen, but Mr. Man was the most amazing doula. I call him Daddy Doula because he did such a great job of advocating for us, for showing the doctors our birth plan. The doctors were able to provide us with some of the things on our birth plan, not everything, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Hospitals are just so clinical all the time. Whatever. Now, it came time for me to push, but there were so many people in the room talking and it was really hard for me to concentrate. So I let them know to be quiet, and so they got the hint, and only one nurse and or doctor was talking at a time, which I very much appreciated. Now, when I tried pushing, I didn't have the energy to push, and again, that was because I didn't eat anything at all the entire day. I had a few sips of coconut water, but that was it. And so one of the nurses was giving me ice chips in between pushes. I definitely think that helped a lot. I don't think I would have had the energy to push. I was at first pushing on my side and I wasn't making any sort of progress that way. So one of the nurses or doctors suggested that I sit up to push, and they even put a bar in front of me so that I can hold on and sit squat and push that way, and so that actually worked out a lot better for me. I finally made some progress, but it felt like every time I was pushing and then I stopped pushing, baby went back in. They were very encouraging. They let me know that that was fine, that was totally normal, that happens. And there was a time where baby's head came out, and that's when I felt the ring of fire. Now, people tell me the ring of fire is so painful and this and that and that. It really wasn't that painful to me. It really wasn't that painful. If anything, the contractions on my lower back were like the most annoying thing of the process. But the ring of fire was fine. I took my time pushing, and I made sure not to strain too much because I didn't want to tear down there. So I took my time to push, and I think that definitely helped make the ring of fire bearable, because it definitely was bearable. So baby's head came out, amniotic sac still intact, and this came time for Mr. Man to come in and do his part, because one of the things in our birth plan was to have Mr. Man catch the baby. Now, even before that whole process, in the middle of me pushing, some other doctor comes in and sticks a Q-tip up my effing nose. That got me so mad. And the Brooklyn came out of me. I was like, yo, son, what's up? Like, she was like, oh, we got to do the COVID test. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I was positive, what would have happened? Would y'all just send me home? I don't even know. Why did they do this during me pushing? That was just not cool at all. And that was probably one of the things that I did not like. And I made sure to let the hospital know that, because what the hell? But in any case, I digress. Okay, Mr. Man is in position, as I said, and it came time for me to push, and I did. And once I pushed, the amniotic sac ruptured, so the on-call birth did not happen, but also baby was safe. She came out arms flailing, according to Mr. Man, or according to Mr. Man. And I say according to Mr. Man because my eyes were closed the entire time, because there were a whole bunch of nurses just looking at me, and I don't like an audience like that. So in order to help ease my anxiety, I closed my eyes, and that helped so much. So baby came out arms flailing and crying, and she was perfectly safe and healthy, and there was no meconium issues whatsoever. So like I said, I didn't want the amniotic sac ruptured, like I said. So everything came out fine. So she came out crying, and then I finally opened, well, I didn't finally open my eyes. Mr. Man put the baby on me, and when I opened my eyes and I held her and she was crying, I ended up bawling like a baby, because I could not believe I did such a thing. I could not believe I pushed a baby out of my hoo-ha. As soon as Mr. Man put her on me was when she decided to poop. So yeah, she pooped on me, and that was an incredible experience as well, because that let me know that I belonged to her. I want to say that final push was probably the most euphoric experience I've ever experienced. The release. Imagine taking a big poop after being constipated for so long. That feeling of I can't explain it, that feeling of bliss. It was the most incredible experience, and the nurses and the doctors, they were so impressed with me, because I did all of that with no medications, no epidurals, no Pitocin, none of that, no drugs, no IV. This was all me. This was all me, and I did it. And by the grace of God, by the grace of my ancestors, I did it. I pushed a whole human out with no food in my system, nothing. I couldn't believe it. Oh, and turns out I was COVID negative. One of the things in our birth plan was that we wanted to do a lotus birth, but due to hospital protocol, we weren't able to do so. But what did happen was we were able to keep the placenta on baby for an hour, and after the hour passed, they cut the umbilical cord and they weighed her. She came in at 6 pounds, 3 ounces. I want to mention here that I only had a 1st-degree tear. The doctor wanted to stitch me up, and I asked her, well, what is the process like? She told me she was going to inject my hoo-ha with some sort of numbing drug and then stitch me up after that. I was like, nah. I respectfully declined, and I end up completely fine. It was only a 1st-degree tear. It wasn't that serious, and I healed up amazing. And in terms of the placenta, while we weren't able to do a lotus birth, they did allow us to take the placenta home. So we left it with the doula, and then she gave it to us when we came back home from the hospital, which was 48 hours later. I'm not sure what I plan on doing with it yet, but we won't be doing encapsulation, if you were wondering. We had to stay in the hospital for 48 hours for observation. Everything was fine. I didn't need any drugs, and I declined all drugs as well. It was a positive birthing experience, even though it wasn't the experience that we initially wanted for ourselves. It was still a good experience, and I would totally do it again. Like, I would totally give birth again. Like, easy. Let's do it. I mean, let's not do it right now. There was a part of me that did mourn for that birthing experience. Like, there was a time where I actually cried because I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do, but I'm actually over that now. It was important for baby to be safe, obviously, and delivered safely. So that happened, and I'm grateful for that. So it is what it is. It happened the way it wanted to happen, and she came when she wanted to come. So it's been 7 weeks since giving birth. I went to my midwife appointment, and she let me know, after I told her like the timeline of things, she let me know that I was in labor for a total of 14 hours. She also let me know that if I do try for another baby, which shouldn't be until a year later or more, that I would give birth in half that time. But yeah, everything is fine. I've been breastfeeding. I've been exclusively breastfeeding, which is, you know, giving her the breast and also giving her the bottle. She seems to be doing just fine, and she's been gaining weight. She's exceeded all of her benchmarks, and she's doing great. And I know you're probably wanting to see baby girl. Mr. Man and I don't really feel comfortable sharing her on social media. There's just so much stuff online. The world is a crazy place. And that is it for my labor and delivery story. If you enjoyed it, please give me a big thumbs up, and also let me know what sorts of videos you would like to see from me in the comment section. Oh, and check out my blog. It's Jasmine Rose, because I got that up too, and I'll be posting some giveaways on there soon. Definitely sign up for the newsletter to be kept abreast of everything. And that is pretty much it. I want to thank you all so much for watching and supporting and subscribing to my channel, of course, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.